Hey, hello guys. Hope you're all doing alright. Um, yeah, so we're just going to continue on this guy. We're going to get back into working on the face, like the colour map today. I kind of want to start getting a few kind of bits of breakup in there, working the spec a little bit and all that sort of stuff. I have worked on it a little bit off stream, as per usual. I didn't stream over the weekend just because I was feeling really burnt out. I think at the end of the last stream, we were left with this. So off stream, I think this is where we were at the end of the last stream. So off stream, I've done a little bit of work, really not much, but I've updated the lighting a little bit, so this is the new one. Update the lighting a little bit, reduce the subsurface scatter radius, tweaks the nose sculpt a tiny bit, adjusted the mask for the groom so it goes a bit further back. And then since this render, I've also changed the density of the peach fuzz and all that sort of stuff. So there's a bit of work been done, nothing too drastic. It doesn't exactly look, drastically different from where it did and then the last stream. But yeah, I just figured we'll work on it from there. I also did a little bit more work on the clothing, although obviously it's still too much. Like the thickness of this collar is intense, so we'll be doing that off stream at some point. The symmetry is also pretty bad. But yeah, all that aside, we're just going to continue working on that for today. So yeah, primarily what the plan is for today's work is to get the displacement map and extract some kind of useful maps out of it. So things like, isolate skin pores and that sort of stuff. And what I'm thinking is I can show you guys how to do like a high pass filter in Nuke, and then walk through getting that into my color, get it into my specular map, just so that we have some actual kind of control over the oh god, what is it I'm trying to think of right now. Get some actual control over the shader for that stuff, because it's all very basic right now. So yeah, we'll be working on skin color mostly, but we'll be starting in Nuke. So yeah, I'm just going to kill the render and minimize Katana. So obviously we don't need to worry too much about what Mari's doing yet, although it's still extremely basic. I still also need to go through and figure out how to do the Aces pipeline properly, because currently I'm texturing in Aces but then converting it to sRGB before I export it from here, and then I'm writing it out as Aces CG from Maya in the TX file, which I think is the equivalent of doing 0. It's like a raw, it doesn't actually apply anything, so it's just getting the sRGB directly from Mari, which isn't really necessarily good workflow, but when we last tried stuff I couldn't get it working. So but yeah, anyway, so let's get Nuke started. I'm just going to go into D drive, projects, personal projects. Let's go to John Singer Sargent, texturing, publish, and then we got disp head, and we'll just grab these guys. So these are 8K displacement maps from 3D Scan Store. Now obviously I've got a few UDIMs of this. We'll set this to error so we can quickly go through those. And yeah, I'm just going to set up a little node graph to kind of extract details out of this, and we can use that in our shader, just to kind of like grade the spec map and increase roughness maybe to get the spec that we want. So I'm just going to do first off, start with a dot node. I keep forgetting that you can just type it in, but we'll do that. Create a blur. Okay, we're just going to blur that by, let's start with 30 pixels. We basically want this to blur to the point where we lose the details that we want a mask for later. So the smaller this blur is, the more precise the map is. And then we're going to do a merge. And then I think that one and that one. Cool. So let's set this to, there we go. Take my view, good night. Night, Alex. There we go. Let's try difference. Yeah, a difference I don't like. From. So from just grabs the from just grabs areas that are higher. I think minus is going to be the best match. Let me just drag this to a better place. I don't like the default layer on Nuke. But that said, I'm a asset guy, so I have a different set of uses. Okay, so if we offset this. Hey Juan, how's it going, man? Let's offset this by 0.5. Okay. So now the smaller we make this blur, the smaller those details get. You can see how we slowly get the entire map back in there. Like that. Now I also need to set this to none. There we go. So yeah, I can control how much detail we get in this. So I think something like that is roughly what I want. And so now we just need to create some masks from this, which I'm going to do with grades. So let's do our first grade. To create a dot in here. So this one I'm going to try to isolate skin pores. So let's go 0.51. Okay. Okay, let's not have that be so high. Okay, then we'll just grade that again, and this is going to invert everything. Then we just slowly step this up until we get the values that we want. So this is basically like a cavity map in a way. Cool. So we'll write that out. So for now, let's put a little sticky note because I want to get this. Disp cavity. ISO disp. What's the name? Disp. Oh god. Cool. Then we will get another grade over here. Cool. I'll preview this guy. So this one I just want the bumps. So black point was going to bump way up like that. That's a bit too intense for me. So this will lift out some small details. And so we'll create a second grade after that. This will just boost the values to where we want them. So I'll double check. Yes, this is a value of, well, it's near 0. It's not quite 0 though, so we'll need to change the black point at the end there. Let's quickly fix that. Okay, let's go 0.98, 0.95. There we go. I think that's low enough to kind of make it a 0 difference, so we'll keep with that. And how bright is this fire getting? We can go a tiny bit higher on this. Hello, Becca. I think that'll do. So these guys are kind of what I get, because these are the blackheads. I'm not sure how I'll get those yet, though. Cool. Okay, I think these will work. So, just trying to think if there's anything else I need to do. We can quickly test this guy, so maybe we want to go a little bit higher on that, because if we go too fine, we just get the absolute, like, basically the slivers. Which honestly, I kind of wish that this like micro, like tiled noise thing. I need to speak to 3D Scansor about this, but I really wish that the disk map did not contain the little tile, because it makes extracting stuff a little bit more difficult. And since it's just a tile, it would be relatively easy to kind of add it back in shader. Now, obviously, I'm aware for games artists it's a godsend, but yeah, it's something that kind of bugs me a little bit. Yeah, we get something like this. So this will do. This gives us quite a lot of detail. Now, I don't know how well it will handle the borders, because I think it's going to blur away from the borders a little bit. But then it's blurring something that's already kind of doing something. I think this will do. So let's create a write node. And so this guy, we're going to put, what's the input? I'll just grab all this. Okay, so we're just going to change this to ISO disp head cavity. Okay, we want these to be 16-bit. It's going to capture quite a lot of small details. Although, maybe. We'll try 8-bit, see if it works, because I'm just filtering this into the textures, and that'll keep my file sizes a bit lower. So the render range on this is 1001 to 1014. No such directory. Okay. Okay, let's get this ZBrush to publish. There we go. That's written those out. I need to change that. Linear. These will get darker. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's create a new directory as well. ISO disp head convex. And we'll just copy this guy over. Replace the word cavity with convex. Okay, and so this guy will do the exact same thing. There we go. That's just going to go through and give me all the pushing out details. Once this is done, I'll quickly save this scene, and then we'll start getting this into our Mari setup. I'll convert these into TX files as well. So let's just quickly save the scene. Save comp as. So we want this to go to texturing. I'm going to create a folder in here called Nuke. Then in here we'll just do disp utility gen 01. So displacement utility generator 01. Although let's do it like that, utility gen. Save. Cool, so that's that. Throw that into into Maya so we can get some TX files from it. Then we'll load that into Katana after. Let me just quickly go in. I need to update something because it's deleted a file intentionally, but you know, deleted either way. Disp head cavity. This cavity is far too broad of a term. There we go, that'll work now. Right, so back into Maya. Let's grab the good old shader box. Where is it? There it is. Okay, layer RGBA. Oh no, it's ISO maps there. Okay, let's update that. Texturing. publish, then ISO disk head cavity, grab that guy. Cool. And that's set to UDIM already. Good. I'll grab this guy as well. Text string, publish. Convex. Grab this guy. Set him to UDIM. And then utility raw. And just save my scene. Okay, Arnold, utilities, TX manager, then no TX, create TX was selected. Now these maps are all 8K, something I didn't notice until just now. Maybe a little bit much. But if it's all getting baked in, it doesn't matter too much. We might go back and update that later though. Just get this one updated too, and then let's go into Mari and start getting this stuff in there. We also need a spec. In fact, it's already in there actually, never mind. So, let's do a color correct. HSV maybe. In there. So I'm going to load in a paint node. 8-bit, that's all fine. We're going to load this in 8K, I guess. Then file, import. I'm going to go with this head cavity first. There we go. I'll do as a placeholder. Let's just go import ISO disk head cavity. Cool. And then we're gonna create a new HSV again. Merge. I'll name these in a moment. Paint. Okay, for this one we'll increase the value. And then file import. And this guy is going to be convex. It's struggling a little bit. Might crash. I don't think it will, but there's a chance. There we go. So the combination of those two allows me to like bring out all this stuff a little bit better. Adds a bit more three-dimensionality to the skin. Now I will be painting stuff to like combine with all this, but this just gets a little bit more detail in that color map. But obviously this is like tertiary detail on top of primary detail. There's no like in between, which is what we'll be adding mostly today. But I just kind of wanted to get something in there. Okay. Now I really wish I had a way to extract all the stubble. There probably is a way, I'm just not sure what it is. We obviously need to paint all that stuff out. Okay, so let's think for a moment. Okay, let's just quickly grab these guys, backdrop that. Okay, disp details, we'll just call that disp details. Call disp details. Okay, so this stuff goes right at the end. Okay, let's name this guy, if it'll let me, there we go. Merge, call, disp cavity. Okay, and this one will be merge, call, disp, convex. Cool. So let's just start breaking up the textures a little bit. I'm going to start with that eye darken because it's probably the worst offender. We're just going to kind of play about with the mask essentially. So, do I have any good references of like all this stuff? I need to redden up the ears quite a lot as well. I also need to redden up the nose a fair bit. Yeah, let's focus on that stuff quickly. So, wait, actually no, we do need to focus on this first. So where is shelf? There it is. There's a brush I was using the other day that I really liked. Mole Attack. So let's just go in, set this to be symmetrical for a little while, just while I figure out all the stuff I want to do. Now it's a lot softer than this in the setup I've got at work. Painting. Yeah, it's not jittering the opacity at all. Oh, it's not jittering, sorry. I want this to be a bit more extreme. Maybe it's flow that I need as well. Yeah, this isn't working the way I wanted it to at all. Let's go to a different brush, maybe watercolor. Okay, why is this so sensitive? Okay. It's a small thing that really annoys me. Oh, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Okay. Where's that purple coming from? I don't want around the eye. Is it going from him? Oh, it is. Alright. So if that kind of works. Soften this out. Okay, so let's find some nice skin references. Skin albedo. We could look at the maps on maybe 3D Scan Store. We could look at Texturing XYZ as well, but let's see what their maps look like. Like, although it's good to use like scientific images as reference when you're looking at albedo and stuff, it's also helpful to see what other professionals have done. So let's just look at textures. Right, which one's going to be the closest match? This guy's kind of cool. I do have an albedo map that I've paid for, but I just kind of want to... Well, not that I've paid for, sorry, that I've been given. New tab, but yeah, it's just 800 by 100. Okay, so it's got a little bit of speck in there, but that's fine. We want to get a bit of this red stuff in there, so let's move this over to the other screen. Okay, and I'm going to look at XYZ as well. Is it Z face? Or V face? TXYZ, I think it's V face. Yeah, it is. There's some map previews on this which are really, really good. Just trying to remember which one. Oh, look at this guy. There you go. So I'm gonna oh, go back. Can I just drag that onto there? No, I can't. That's cool. Okay, we'll just try to get some of the larger stuff in there. Cool. So let's drag you into this. Okay, and yeah, let's just get started on it. So I think the ears is something I really want to spend a little bit of time on. Let's take a little bit of red off this area here. I might multiply a noise on top of this, or make a map to kind of add the strengthen and weaken this color in different areas. Because currently I'm kind of using it like a blackhead map, in a way, but like for the entire head at the same time. I also kind of want to use a weaker brush. So let's go to a shelf. Something like that. Okay. So let's start getting some kind of stubble stuff going on. So fractal, fract. Does this expect a position? I've never used a fracture node before, so or fract node. Cloud is what I was looking for. Merge. Oh hey Mac. Yeah, no worries, man. And yeah, lo-fi and keyboards. It's a good combo. Let me just actually merge this in a paint. Okay, paint node. This one will be 4K. These will be a multiply. Okay, and then we'll do a color for now. For now, I'll just throw this all the way down to black. And then paint. So, what brushes can we use for this? Let's see what mold attack does. Okay, it's not the effect I want. Definitely not. Organic brushes. We can try a pause brush, maybe? Round freckles could work. Okay. Okay, that might do. Let's just quickly reduce the size of this guy. No, that's not quite right. I'm wondering if it'd be better to get some kind of map, like tileable. Or could I even manufacture one from a few noises? Let's see if I can make one. So I want to do a purlin noise. Okay. This one we're going to do incredibly high frequency. Let's see what options come with a cloud. Like cloud at minimum roughness, is it the same as a purlin? Or is it slightly different? That's a little bit better. Okay, so let's grade. Okay, we're going to set that to 1, that to 0. Okay, we'll copy paste this. merge. Set that to add, which I think is enlighten. Yep. Oh, we need to clamp these first. There we go. So now we can use that as the mask. Let's just see what that looks like. We can use that as a stubble generator. Alright, so let's just delete these two. Okay, now obviously we're going to continue to work on this a little bit, but let's just do that. Create a merge, then plug you into there. Oh no, into there. Need that paint node back. Multiply these two together. Do that now. Okay, and we're just going to use a soft brush, like that, of the super soft. And now we just paint where we want stubble to go, and it's procedural, so I can update the actual colors and stuff later. I don't have to worry about artifacting and all that sort of stuff. Goes without saying we'll be updating all this stuff. Okay. Something like that. Okay, so let's update the actual map now. I'll do just to get something in there. Right, okay, so. Probably replace all that later, but let's just create a backdrop. Call stubble. Okay. What happens if we add roughness to this? Kind of produces like a mole effect. It's kind of interesting. Okay, we need to get a freckles layer in there, as well as kind of blackhead layer as well. Okay, so stubble goes above all the other stuff. Merge. Create another color. In fact, actually, let's do a HSV instead. We will decrease value, boost saturation, create a paint node. This one will be freckles. What does this one do? Not what I want. Not that much. I wonder if there's any other noises that might... Like, what other noises are they? Voronoi, maybe. If I was to grade this, what happens? The really distinguished like vertical lines is kind of annoying. Oh, we can actually overdrive the jitter. Oh, it still gets the vertical lines, it's weird. What if I create a position and multiply that by a fractal and then plug that in? Or Perlin even. It would probably distort it quite a lot, but let's see what it does. Happens from time to time. Every now and then the viewport gets completely stuck. I haven't figured out what causes it yet. Could this give us more what we want? Oh, that's interesting. That kind of works. Let's set this like way higher. Because the jitter's kind of acting like a density when you overdrive it. That's interesting. Okay, so what if we replace this? Does that work better? Yeah, that works better. Okay. So delete you, delete these two, and then copy paste these so we can change the seed. That works pretty well. Might be a bit too dense now, but works better than it did before. Okay, so we got that in place. Got some basic freckles building. We need to get the larger blemishes now. This is merge freckles. Paint. ISO. Freckles. Alright, get rid of that. Uppercase F. Okay. There we go. OBS reconnected. Okay, so grab this guy. Paint. Darken, multiply. Okay, so let's get the super soft out. And with this, we're just going to paint in where we want everything. In fact, probably would have been better to start this at a value of 1 and paint out from there, so let's do that. Paint. Start you at a value of 1. There we go. Then we can just paint out where we don't want this skin detail stuff. Like there, for example. Lips as well, we want that to be reduced a bit. We still want it there, we just don't want it to be anywhere near as strong. This gives the effects we want now. Okay, so what we'll do now, paint, let's just do ISO, disp, head, cavity, strength. I wonder what the longest paint node like file name has been, or paint node name has been, without like it being intentional. Because I've had some pretty horrendous file names over the years. Okay, so we're going to create a blackheads map. Okay, so damn it. Okay, so let's create a new merge. This one's going to be blackheads. We will do a color again. This guy's set to complete black. Although I'll need to remove like completely black, it needs to be tinted and stuff. But for now we'll do a merge. Okay, let's grab this head cavity as the base. We're going to create a dot node. That'll just help me keep this nice and separate. Okay, and we're just going to add a paint node in here. This one needs to default to black. That's set to multiply. No, it isn't. Okay. Let's just see how this looks. So if I just paint here, yeah, there we go. So I can use this to kind of get some of the darker regions. Like that. And if we just pull that back a bit, we're left with just the darkest bits, which logically are going to be the bits with the blackheads. I feel like I kind of want to grade these a little bit. Although this is already kind of struggling, isn't it? Now we need some large, I guess it would come under modeling, but I kind of want to have my own. Merge. Okay, call again. Just build it up layer by layer. Although again, could be worth switching to HSV. But yeah, let's switch to HSV again. I like working with HSV. It's a lot more reliable. Because it keeps everything kind of semi-procedural. Okay, paint. So this one's going to be kind of more noisy. I'm not sure which of these will work for me. Not that much. Oh, I need to have veins as well at some point. Okay, let's go into tool properties for that guy. This layer started as having one task and has kind of become another task, but that's okay. I have to figure out how to name it though. Okay. Oh shit, I've got it set to project through. Okay. Okay, so let's see how this is doing. Let's quickly adjust that first though. Okay, so that underlying modeling is too large, isn't it? Which I think is this one. Which I guess by extension means that this one's too big. I think we can see how this does. Although I'm not keen on... Feels a bit noisy overall. That's the problem I got with it now. This is where a lot of that noise is coming from. So let's pull this all back a little bit. Okay, so far. Modeling is still a bit much, but I just want to test it, see how it's doing. Oh, we need to get the veins in there. We'll do that first. I guess it's this layer, right? Because it goes below the skin. Although, we'll do it after, because we can just control opacity normally. Merge. Okay, color. And this will be like a purpley kind of tone. this one we have to do asymmetrically. Okay, so we're going to go into organic brushes, vascular. Paint them back out in a moment. I just want to get something in place first. Okay, let's get some stuff over here. Okay, and we're just going to go in with basic brush, super soft, set this to clear. Oh no, we need to set it to black, don't we? Because I'm using that as a mask. Okay. Let me just, okay, that's where the nostril is. There you go. It's nice subtle veins. The main thing is that you feather the edges to help it blend out. Like that. Okay. God, that mottling is intense. Can we just remove it? Yeah, okay, we need that in there, but it needs to be a lot more subtle than what we have it. It's one of those things that you feel it when it's not there, but you don't want to see it like consciously by any stretch. Hey Kiriato, how you doing? That's looking a lot better, so let's get that in place. Let's go to channels, cull skin, export manager. Okay, we'll just do export flattened. Let's do this thing for a moment, and then we'll do a test render with it. See how it's going. I'll let this do its thing for a bit. Cool, there we go. So let's get into Maya, reconvert that TX file, call skin. Okay, start that converting again. Back into Mari. Gonna save my scene, close that. I want to archive this just to get an update. Projects, person projects. John Singer Sargent, text string, Mari, body, archive. Gonna increase the number. Well, this Mari archive is already 3 GB, so it's gonna start getting slow now. Okay, so let's get into here. I'm going to prune out the groom and the clothing. Well, I guess prune out the groom, I can just do that. But we need to prune up here. Scene. Okay, so it's gonna look super funky. Oh wait, we need to let it do its thing. Did I finish? Oh, I did finish. Alright, cool, cool. This is gonna be going for a while. I need to do a new backup of the project soon. Very fine. Thanks. Did you use projection in your albedo? No. Well, kind of. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, I guess it's time to figure out how we're doing all that stuff. Unless this is coming from... I don't think it is, actually. Let me test something. Skin mats. Flat. Color. Okay, so that is working. So it's something else that's broken. It's actually working pretty well. Although it is a little bit dark. There we go. Map mapping has such a big effect on all this stuff. On the sharpness of things. Okay, so obviously something's happening. So let's delete you. Plug you back in. Love it. Let's just quickly bypass that, so I'm going to create a dot node. So I can bypass it completely. Because I think it's this, because this was being used to grade down some stuff. Yeah, there we go, it's working now. Okay, so let's kill that. We don't need this anymore. What I do want to see is this guy, so let's go create another flat. This just allows me to quickly preview a map without creating specific AOVs for stuff. Okay, so how's this working? We want this to be a different... We want this to be the reverse of what it's currently doing. So I'm going to say it's a minus. Let's just see how that does. Okay, so it's obviously a bit strong, but we'll see how it's doing. Let's go spec direct. Oh yeah, it's flat node. I feel like it needs to be a bit wider for spec, but we'll render that in Beauty, see what it looks like. Oh yeah, I also need to turn this back up. This will make the render a lot slower, but it helps on capturing detail. This might take some time. Although I have noticed it's getting slower when it really shouldn't get that much slower. this is taking its time, isn't it? Okay, this is kind of intense. Why is it taking this long? There we go. That's a good thing. It looks like, so obviously it makes quite a small difference, but you see how like towards the edge of the nose it's like a completely different spec. It's hard to tell sometimes how much everything needs to change. I think we need a I think we need a little bit of a broader spec. Like the cavity thing needs to be a little bit broader. Because if we go back to this guy, and this might be enough. I'm not sure. It feels like it might be too little for me. The body has no spec anymore. That's pretty funny. I feel like the default color for that needs to change. Set default color to 0. It feels a bit greasy, but then the ref does have a really bright speck on the nose. Like this is unnaturally specky. And mine's too much though. It's kind of hard to say exactly what I should do from there. I kind of want to let this clean up and just see how the spec handles the map that we've done. Well, it's actually cleaning up a lot closer to what I wanted. That's the importance of letting it sample for a bit. Like, look how much that spec is changing. That isn't the that's not any change in my shader. That's purely more samples, and it's evening back out to something a bit more natural. The reason it's so dependent on the samples is because it's primarily driven with displacement. Like the roughness is a actual physical roughness for the most part. There's a little bit of a roughness in there, obviously, but like not that much. So look, it looks like it's working actually relatively well. Let's go back to the... Okay. Right, so what's the next best thing to do? Obviously we can continue working on the skin textures. Kind of want to work on the groom a bit. So I need to figure out what the fuck this is as well, it's really annoying. So it's only in my SSS. This guy. He keeps changing. He's super red now, which kind of makes him a bit more annoying. That spec is really intense. I don't know, what do you guys think? What would you like to see me try to do? Or work on? Continue working up the skin texture, or go into some groom stuff? I'll let you guys decide. This is starting to clean up a bit nicely. Beautiful. Let's get back into Nuke. I'll let this render in the background while I do the other stuff. What I'm wondering, it could be good for me to extract the small stuff out, like the really small stuff, like that shit. Extract that out. Let's go 8. Okay, we start to capture bigger stuff there, so let's go 6. If I filter this out and then do my map extraction, oh, this is... This is like an ultra fine cavity. Like super fine. You can see like the circles around stubble and that sort of shit. Now this is eating up a lot of my memory, so I'm gonna have to kill that. That's evening out to something that looks a bit more natural though, so I'm okay with that. We'll kill that where it is. Let's get into here. So if I take this shit, which gives me an incredibly small map. So set this to minus maybe, or add. It's the opposite. So minus. That's making it stronger, which is not what I want. Wait, am I being an idiot? Oh no, actually not. Okay. Oh no, I kind of am. Yeah, no, I absolutely am. Alright. Let's put that up there. So that will subtract the smallest details. Set that to 6. There we go, that's much better. Okay, yeah, I was being an idiot. Let's set that 4 pixels. Yeah, I think 4 pixels was a good amount. So I guess we did a really small stuff, which helps a little bit with this. Granted, it's not completely removed it. What if we... It removes a lot of it, which I think is all I really need. Because without it, it looks like that. This feels a lot healthier to me. Granted, we are literally removing detail, but... We are removing a little bit of value though. Let's try 12. Maybe this isn't what I want. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep it as it is. I'm now realizing how strong these shapes are and that I need to get rid of them. Really, I love how cheap this is now. That noise. Shall we tweak that noise? I guess we should. Okay, so let's go Col Stubble. So we need to grade that. Let's just drag all this out for a moment. Grab that guy. Then we need to clamp it again, because there isn't an output clamp on the grade. Reason we've got to keep this clamp here is just because this creates values above and below, above 1 and below 0. So for this grade to work correctly, it needs to be clamped. I have to remove that data, and then we grade it again and clamp it again. And that produces a bit of a nicer fall off. Granted, this is going to look pretty bad, yeah, there you go. Although, yeah, that kind of works better than it did. There's some weird shit going on with this stuff, which I'm not entirely sure where that's coming from. It doesn't come in here, right? Wait, it's coming in there. Is it because I'm jittering more than 1? Let's set to 4. Yeah, it's because I'm jittering more than 1. But then I kind of need to get the effect that I want. Yes, I think I did. These are kind of small enough to get away with it, actually. So let's undo all that. So we need to merge these together with like a minimum operation. I guess it's screen. Yeah, there you go. So screen is a min operation. This is too dense, isn't it? Are they too thick as well? I think they're on the thick side. Which means changing this guy to be thicker. Don't worry about the spec. That gets broken up later. Let's quickly update this stuff. God. Let's just move all this back. Okay, there we go. Let's update this guy. Technically it needs to get thinner towards the outside, but I don't really want to do that, so I'm not going to. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay, let's get that exported. And I think the next stream will start on eye textures. Like, not iris, but like the actual sclera. I think, anyway. I really don't like these skin corrects. So I think my hairline might be a bit far back. Okay, there we go. So let's get that color map exported. Is it worth making the spec map? Because currently the spec is being driven entirely by that. I kind of do need to make a spec weight map, don't I? .7 is the base. Well, do I have an ISO for the T-zone? Okay, let's make a new ISO. Channel. ISO T zone. I don't like that. That'll do. It's gonna be a bit smaller. Okay, we're just going to create a paint node. Okay. we're just going to go into this guy, super soft. Do this. We'll use this to drive the spec essentially. There we go. So we'll get that quickly fixed up. I feel like I've probably done it easier from the side. Let's go into the UVs. There we are. Okay, there we go. So let's re-export the color of the skin. So export flattened, export current channel flattened. I'm going to copy paste this. Let that do its thing for a moment. What's the mask for? I'm going to use it to drive my Specular, so I can boost up the spec map on the old. What's the word I'm looking for right now? So I can boost up the spec map on the nose and forehead, rather than painting a specular color map and going back and forth constantly, because spec is something that needs a lot of tweaking. Did that export? I did. Alright, cool. So we'll export this guy too. Okay, and while that's going, we'll just go Arnold. Let's open up this guy, file, texture. Okay, this one will be texturing, publish, ISO T-zone. Cool. And then we will just go in, again, save this scene. Arnold, utilities, TX manager. I'm just going to quickly create them for this guy because he's nice and quick. Cool, and then we'll start call skin, remove TX was selected. Cool, and then while that's going, let's just quickly get into here. So, I want to plug this into input 3. 3's go. Ugh. Okay. That's the first crash I've ever had. Okay. Okay, we can kill this. Okay. Get that back open. Okay, so we need to... Luckily we didn't do much in the actual shader. Alright, so pause. Oh no. Disp head cavity. Set this to minus. Cool. Let's quickly grab another one of these. Input. Alright, so T-zone. Entering the name twice is kind of redundant. I need to update that at some point. Oh shit, I changed the wrong thing. I did. There we go. Oh, so I actually want this to go into mask, not anything else. Okay, this one be T-zone. I want to multiply, let's say, 1.2, so it's 20% higher. That allows me to reduce the spec everywhere else. Although I could just set this to be... no, let's keep that the same actually. Let's just reduce these guys. Okay. Programs. This will take a while, but that's fine. This is a gigabyte smaller, which is a nice little surprise. And this will be the end of the stream, I think. Next stream we'll do eye texturing. Make that a little bit more correct. And give it its own textures for this project. Cool. Yeah, I think that'll be it for this stream. I think that's gonna work. Let's just quickly go to Spec Direct. So it'll be bright on the nose, and dimmer on the everything else. So we'll just do all this. Quickly render the progression render for the end of stream. And off stream I'll render a high res with a bit of a different lighting just to see how it's looking. But yeah, so that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys have not been too bored. And yeah, definitely next stream, which won't be tomorrow for sure, because I'm going to see Lightyear, which I'm excited for. Actually, it looks like it might be quite a fun movie. At the very least, a beautiful movie. So, visually speaking anyway. But yeah, I think Wednesday probably do some eye texturing. Again, we'll just be focusing on Scalera. I don't know how I'm going to do the iris texturing yet. I've still got to learn a few things in Katana before I get that working. And then obviously I'll share that information with you guys. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. And I'll see you in the next stream. Thank you for stopping by.